guys. Welcome to Critical Thinking with Ginger, a show where I interview really interesting friends and we think critically. It's not that difficult, guys. It's in the title. Anyways, today is a really exciting episode for me in particular because it really was birthed out of my own need to think more critically about a group of people that I had always supported, but truly hadn't gained um, more information about on a deeper level, and that is the wonderful trans community. So I kind of wanted to explain how I had this moment. So I was pitching a show a couple years ago, and in every room that I went to, I'm telling jokes, I'm doing the whole thing. And then when I got to the part where I was discussing how in this show we would show characters from my Filipino family, I would watch these execs face just glaze over. And every time, it was mostly white males, like whatever. They couldn't connect to it. It's not something they knew. Sure, they knew Filipino people. Do they like them? Maybe, sure, whatever. But no one was responding or really listening to what I was having so much fun sharing, which is that, the Filipino culture is really interesting. It has, the accent is so charming and endearing. There's religion, there's also superstition. A lot of people sing, they love karaoke. So I was sharing, a part of my culture and something that I wanted to see more of on TV. And then just watching people who had no association with the female Filipino culture whatsoever politely kind of like nod their heads, like maybe. And I would get, and it was always during that section. Now, granted, I don't know, maybe I could have thrown in a couple more jokes, but you get what I'm saying. So I would get so frustrated and I'd be ranting to my friends. I'm like, why can't anyone think outside themselves? Or don't they realize that if they don't know much about this culture, that's all the more reason for it to be on television, because it's interesting and it's something we haven't seen before, and there's so much to mine there in the comedy and the drama. And I would truly like rant and rave to my friends about how frustrating it was to see people who it were in no way personally connected to something related to me or something that I thought was interesting, let's say, and think that it had any value. Now, whatever, boohoo for me. But now, cut to, I was mentoring some students for as part of like a film festival. And as I was mentoring these like writer filmmakers or whatever, they were kind of like soft pitching some of their ideas to me, or I think someone asked a question about how they would do that, and they gave me like an example, and this girl was like, yeah, I really want to make this show, and it's all about like the trans narrative and delving into these little parts of the culture. And I caught myself doing the exact same thing that other execs had done to me, which was being like, oh cool, but glazing over. And I didn't like that about myself, so I had to check myself in this situation. Now, I have known trans people. I was lucky enough to work at the Abbey, this iconic gay bar in West Hollywood. I knew a bunch of drag queens. I knew drag queens who transitioned. And I've always supported trans people and been for them and had love for them, but didn't, I kind of like plateaued. Like I didn't go beyond that. I didn't seek out more of that experience that would make me further understand it or find a way that I could really, really connect to it in a way that I think is necessary for people to learn and think outside themselves. Like I was just kind of like, yes, I support you. Why are some people so full of hate? Why are people anti-trans? That's so cruel. But I didn't have like my empathy was like kind of like surface level, I would say. So much so that when this girl was like pitching me her idea of her trans show, I'm like, okay, sounds cool. Sure, I would have to hear more specifics. Also, I'm not an exec, but I am actively acting like these execs that I didn't like in that situation. So I was like, Ginger, you got to do more. So prior to filming or prior to judging the Florida Film Festival, I was like, okay, I'm obviously going to need to get some books or have more conversations, but I was really wishing and wishing and wishing for a film that would really emotionally get me there as far as how I could connect with something that was truly so different from myself that I in no way can identify with relationally, other than being a minority. You know what I mean? For all the different minority boxes that I check, I've never wanted to be a man. I was a tomboy. I wanted to compete with men and I wanted to do what they got to do, but I didn't want to be a dude. So I was like, how can I was wishing for a film that would like show me a trans narrative in a way where I could feel more emotionally connected to it without being trans myself. And that film came to me, my friends. I manifested it, I swear, in this beautiful film called Marie. And it was so beautiful and such a wonderful short film. And Jen Winslow was the lead actress in it. And after seeing that film, I was like, oh my gosh, thank you to this film and all this artistry. I get so much more of it now, and I get kind of the pain in this whole experience, and how difficult it must be, and how beautiful transitioning that life can be for people who need to do that. And I also got to discover a very wonderful actress. So I stalked her like I do many of my guests on this show, and I have now since collected her as my friend. So today, our guest, who I would love to share with you, talk about her artistry, talk about her life, and also share some of my since debunked theories surrounding um, a trans life that I sort of accidentally had, but in reading and seeking out these films and finding more trans friends to chat with, I've successfully debunked with my critical thinking. And let me tell you, it's been a lot more enriching. So, without further ado, I would love to introduce you to my wonderful, talented friend who's also a comedian and all the things, Jen Winslow. Jen, welcome to the show.
Hey.
Um,
Oh my God.
Full disclosure, have we done this before?
Full disclosure, yes, we have.
So, yes, Jen and I recorded a podcast. She was my inaugural podcast. And then at the very end of it, I was like, oh, the ADHD tax. I actually didn't press record. So here we are.
And that's fine. We just get to see each other again.
Yes, I know. It's great. And plus, a lot more has happened since the last time we spoke. Because
Yeah.
now Trump is in office. So there's
Oh
all of
my,
that.
all of that. So
I
many
know.
things.
I know. But I want to start with Marie, even though I know I like kind of give away some spoilers. But I love that film so much, and you're so wonderful in it. And like actor to actor, I knew that you were improvising and adding your own life to it. Like I was just like, no, this is too soulful. This is too specific. Like she's adding herself to this.
Oh,
So yeah, I don't know. Just talk to me a little bit about that short film because you're so wonderful in it, and
oh,
I
thank
think
you.
it's so important. Yeah.
The film, it's really nice. Improvisation definitely did happen, and that definitely brought myself to it. Even in the audition process and interviews going into it, they immediately like started latching onto my story to start to allow
Yeah.
me to interweave that in.
Yeah.
Um, so the fact that Marie is based on a true story. This poor, I mean, my heart goes out. She had to come out to her father every single time she saw him because he has Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And this was basically the final time she came out. Like everything really kind of stuck after this. So
Yeah.
emotions, I guess, were necessary
Sure.
in this final coming out to him.
Wait,
And they
in real
stuck.
life, did it stick for
Yeah, in
the
real life it
doc?
stuck.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So it
Wow.
did. Um, and so, I brought, of course, my own flavors to it because I
Yeah.
came out at 47.
Yeah.
And
But I feel like that's
uh,
very common for like a certain generation. You know what I mean?
yeah, because, if I would have come out in high school, who
Like,
knows
what
what
even
would have
is
happened.
that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. Yeah.
Um, so it was nice to bring that. The letter that I read to my dad in the film is exactly the same letter that I wrote and read to my parents when I
Oh
came
my
out to them.
goodness. Yeah.
Every detail was that. And I had to write it because ADHD and I can't
Yeah.
focus. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't
And
know
it's a
what I would have
big,
told them if I
yeah,
didn't
yeah, yeah.
have.
You want to make sure you hit all of the bullet points. Okay, so you came out to your parents at 47. So I just want to share in
Yeah.
this film, you know, the character Marie is coming out to a parent that has Alzheimer's, and like what's so beautiful about it too is he kind of like instantly accepts you in that moment. He's like, "Oh, I've always wanted a daughter." And meanwhile, you're totally nervous. It's another, you know, it's a whole weighted kind of day, but it also just kind of reminds you like what um how kind like a more childlike state is of the mind. Like
Yeah.
someone who's dealing with that is no longer like, you know, they're not holding on to whatever they've been indoctrinated with, you know, or you know, anything they've been taught in life. It's just so pure, and the
Yeah.
really pure parent with Alzheimer's is like, that's great. You know, it's
It's bringing myself into it again. My mom was on the very early onsets of dementia when I came out to them.
oh wow.
Um, the important thing with that is even as that progressed, she always called me Jen, always used correct pronouns, always like this is my daughter.
Yes.
Um, and it was the most beautiful thing because it just shows you that like anyone can do this. Everyone
Yes.
can use names and pronouns.
But also like how remarkable, because even like my grandpa when he was really old, like I was one of the only people whose names he even remembered, like let alone remembering someone's gender and all of that,
Um,
you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
so it's just so how beautiful that it really stuck in their mind and they're like committed to that despite a degenerative issue.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I'll stick with Maria. There's like side points to the dementia and you know and
Yeah.
the childlike wonder of a parent with that. But
Yeah.
yeah, with Maria, it fueled my emotions. It fueled everything to do with that film. And the fight, the yelling, the emotions I had in that film are what I expected to have with my parents, and I didn't get to have that because they freaking accepted me.
Yeah.
Which is great, but like
I
I was geared up for a fight.
yeah, you're like, "I was so prepared." And it's like, "I'm sorry, what?" And this is fine, and everyone's happy, and they love me.
Oh,
That's so funny. That happened to me on a flight with a Karen the other day. She was being nasty, and I sassed her, and I was just ready for her to come for me again, and I was armed with all my little quick, funny rebuttals, but then she never did.
you know, it's I don't mind, I guess, surprises like that. You know, like
Yeah.
if we can just like kind of like whoop and come together, then okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, with my with my parents, that was special.
Of course.
You
Yeah.
know, because I fully expected to not have parents when I came
Oh,
out to them.
yeah, and that's kind of that, like that's the cost for some people to
Yeah.
be able to be themselves, and obviously, like, I loved your film, I loved Will and Harper so, so
Yeah.
much. I really I'm like, if everyone can just watch Marie and Will and Harper, I think they'll have a better understanding and a and they're both just so beautiful and entertaining. I do have some books, and I will say once again, Trans 101 is boring. That book was so boring. I was like, okay, I did it. But Will and Harper and Marie were a lot better. Oh my goodness. They're not kidding. It's literally like a 101 class. So I was like, oh, I
Oh
might as
my
well have just
God.
taken this in college. But yeah, like Marie is so enlightening, and Will and Harper too, especially because Harper's an older when she comes out as well, at least to all her
Yeah.
friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's something that film did for me as far as like a theory that I had that I now know is very incorrect, but I had read once an article that talked about how trans is like a body dysmorphia that's similar to the body dysmorphia that you have with an eating disorder. And
Yeah.
so, and I've been severely anorexic in my life, and I know that that mental trap. So it's like you're trying to be so skinny and you can never actually achieve it. So you're like never actually happy. And and but it's madness. It's crazy. You're like, "Oh no, I'm supposed to be 60 pounds. I'm not supposed to be in
Yeah.
this body. I'm supposed to be 60 pounds. And that's society doing all of its awful things. And it's a proper mental health issue. What I loved in, but that, for me, not understanding, for me not being trans, and me not really having had these conversations or reading enough, and reading this article like many years ago, I was like, oh, I could see that. Like that kind of almost makes
Right.
sense to me, or at least I've related to thinking I'm supposed to be this other thing in my life. And for me, that other thing was an emaciated fairy. I don't know. But what was so interesting in Will and Harper was how Harper discusses, like, once she transitioned, and even like in a silly way, she's like, the second I took one little bit of estrogen, even though it takes a second to actually do its thing, how much she wanted to live. So by transitioning and actually affirming and saying, I am a woman, now this person wants so much life. Like they're like, I am myself, now I want to live. Body dysmorphia from anorexia is the opposite. You're never gonna, like, actually achieving 60 pounds isn't gonna make you want to live. The entire thing is a slow suicide. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I just saw that just in the affirmation of like how much she had hid herself and all of that self-hate that shouldn't have been put on her, and wanting to live. I thought that was so profound.
Yeah. It's for me, I was lucky in the fact that I didn't get really depressed from my dysmorphia. It was there. It was screaming all the time.
Yeah. From what
But
age? How young were you
oh
when you were
my
like, what
God.
is going on? I'm a woman, leave me alone. Yeah.
Literally from like my first memories, I was like, why am I not like her?
Yeah.
And I
Oh
couldn't,
gosh.
you couldn't explain it. You couldn't ask
Of course
anyone.
not. Of
Um,
course. And where did you grow up? Remind me, because you're super
I
conservative like I
grew
did.
up in a town called Muncie, Indiana.
Yeah. It's not
Um,
happening in Muncie, Indiana,
it's
guys.
not happening. Like our claim to fame is we keep referring to the fact that David Letterman went to college in Muncie. That's how.
Yeah.
That's how. Like that's.
That's what
Um,
they've got.
and and I didn't put. I knew what I was dealing with. I knew what I was suffering with. I had great friends. I had a
But at
great.
what age did you realize that? Because when you're really young, you're like, what is going on? Like, when did you have some sort of language around it?
The language came probably preteen,
Oh,
like
wow.
11, 12, because you had like the shows like Donahue, and you had
Yeah.
the talk shows that were some were trying to do
Oh,
good
how
things.
funny. How
I
interesting. Like, a
oh
more sensational talk show is actually exposing you to, like, yeah, to different people.
and
Yeah.
so that was it. And so of course I immediately like, oh, what do I have? What can I? How can I look things up? So I go
Yeah.
to our encyclopedia that was from
Yeah.
1964, and it said, "Oh, you're a sexual deviant. You're."
Oh my
I mean,
gosh. Is it
it was this
Oh.
1-inch block that like obliterated my world,
Oh my
and I was like,
god.
okay, wait a minute. And then I would remember I would hear a term. Uh, okay, well, there's transvestite is a term, so I'm like,
Sure.
and
Yeah, you're
I'm
like,
digging.
Rocky Horror Picture Show. Let's
I'm going to
go.
the dictionary and I'm looking that up, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that's not it either.
Yeah.
And so it came slowly to
Of course.
realizations, and probably um, in college is actually when I was like, oh, this is the terminology that fits exactly
Yeah.
what I am going through.
Yeah.
Um, and oddly enough, it was actually a run-in with the police that
Yes.
triggered all
Pray
of this.
tell.
Oh, it was absolutely
We're gonna need the tea.
absolutely terrible. So a town smaller than ours,
Yeah.
I was driving through and
Yeah.
I got pulled over.
Yeah.
And he clocked me,
Oh my
and was
gosh.
just like, you know, w- he stood and berated me through my window for the longest
Yeah.
time.
Oh my
Then he
goodness.
had me get out of the car. He trashed my car, looking for nothing. He
An
just,
officer.
yeah, an undercover cop.
Oh my goodness.
Um, he called another officer to come and take me down to the station. I'm 18 and a half, 19 when this happened.
Oh my goodness.
And so I was taken to the Anderson Police Department, and I was locked in an interrogation room
Oh my
while
goodness.
voices that I could hear, probably 8 to 10 detectives, policemen, stood outside of that door and talked about what they would want to do to me. Um, and I couldn't see them. The door was closed, so all I could hear was voices.
Oh
Um,
my gosh.
and so when the detective came in, and he knew the whole time he was just
Yeah.
being mean.
In the
That was
wrong.
his entire
Yeah, it's just a
thing.
nasty person. Yeah.
So he came in. There was a old law on the books in Indiana that would classify being dressed as the wrong gender as public indecency. So it was a 1950s ish law. And he goes, I could lock you up. Right now, I could lock you up.
Oh my God.
But I'm going to let you go. But this is what you have to do. And through all of this, I didn't know he didn't have the right to do any of this because I was just,
Oh,
scared
yeah,
to death.
of course. You're
Um,
19.
and so he goes, you need to find a therapist. They need to be sending me a letter every week.
Oh my
And,
God.
you have to do this for 2 months. On the week I don't get a letter, I'm issuing a warrant. So I went back to Ball State.
Oh my gosh. Also, for these people that are like that, like, dude, it has nothing to do with you. Like,
I,
it's so crazy the personal need to police, like, that personality, like, in any form has always grossed me out. Like, I'm just like,
yeah,
are you from a family of like 20 kids where like you have no like authority whatsoever? That's what also you became a cop, so you already need to
right.
like be in a uniform, and now you're bullying someone. So that what? For what? Like, this is a stranger.
Um, but the beautiful thing that came out of that was going
Yeah.
back to Ball State, finding a student therapist, someone
Yeah.
who was doing their practicum.
Cute.
And the
Yeah.
first words out of her mouth were, do you want to embrace this, or are you trying to get rid of this?
Oh
And
my
I
goodness,
said,
what a safe question.
I'm trying to embrace this. And
Oh my gosh.
she leaned in and said, good, because you can't get rid of
You can
it.
get rid of it. Oh my gosh. But also this was a while ago. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that you found the right person. Even in Harper and Will, or Will and Harper, I don't even know which one it's
Uh,
called. Like, it's so sad seeing that one therapist who's basically admitting that she didn't, that, in the
yeah.
80s, like, she sent someone down the wrong path because she didn't know, because they're married, and she's like, well,
I
you love your
know.
life. And she has since learned more because everyone goes to school for whatever, even doctors. Like, medical doctors go to school and then they're done kind of learning for a bit, honestly, because they're
Yeah.
busy, and so they don't stay up to date, or they don't get the new info. And it's like, we used to all think that cigarettes were good for us, and then they finally were like, they're not. Same thing with alcohol now, you know but oh my, you're so lucky that you had someone say that to you.
Oh, I just, the only thing that breaks my heart is because I don't remember her name.
Oh
I could
yeah, what a
describe her
beautiful.
to you,
Oh, of course.
but I don't know her name.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Uh,
That's funny, because my reverse experience with the first time I ever went to a therapist, I was just going through the SAG medical thing, and I just picked someone, and I didn't
yeah.
know she couldn't help me. And I was like, why is this woman not what is wrong with her? And then I realized she specialized in trans people and helping them transition. So she wasn't like for me. So she was like wondering why I was there. I didn't know why. She was just like, you're an anxious person. And I was just like, but it's because I just picked a name out of a hat,
Oh.
essentially. So we were just completely missing each other. She's like, I do not know why this girl's here.
Oh my gosh.
Um, oh my goodness. Wow. Well, that's
Yeah.
remarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a silver lining.
Um,
And oh, you're so lucky. So, but that was when you were 19 and you were like, I want to
yeah.
embrace this. But then what? Yeah. Because I
Uh,
know your life a little
yeah.
bit.
So then, it still took a while. I still didn't know exactly what to do or how to go about things.
Yeah.
She was helping me just, again, embrace it.
Yeah.
Um, so as luck would have it, I ended up falling in love.
Yeah.
It was not planned, but like she was an incredible person, and we had so much in common, and we're just if there's a soulmate, this was a
Yeah.
soulmate kind of a
Oh, yeah,
situation.
yeah, yeah.
And we talked openly about everything
Yeah.
from the moment we started dating.
Oh, from the I
Uh,
didn't realize it was that early. Oh, how
yeah,
cute.
like it was like
Oh,
immediate, yeah.
yeah.
And she was like, you know what, that's that's cool. It's however this plays out, we're gonna be fine. We're
Yeah,
gonna,
and you're still best friends. Yeah.
and yeah, it hit the point where the theoretical became actual, and
Yeah.
she couldn't deal with that. She wasn't attracted
Yeah.
to women.
Yeah.
No fault. I
Yeah.
hold no ill will against that.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're still friends today, and we've been divorced for 12 years,
Oh, wow. Yeah, yeah,
and we
yeah.
were together for
Oh my
24, including
goodness.
dating.
Oh my goodness, for 24.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Um,
Um, but it was
so
awesome.
but
She got me in the right path.
yeah. And so what was that like? Because like you eventually you're like, no, I need to be Jen. And she saw that, right? She was like, you're happier as Jen. Were you like, how much were you allowing yourself to be Jen? Like as far as like a week goes, are you like, you
Uh,
know,
the cool thing, I mean, of course, it gradually built
yeah,
over the course of the marriage. But by the time she asked the question, "Are you happier as Jen?"
yeah,
It was like it was probably about like 85% of the time I was
yeah,
Jen. So if I went to work or if I went to see my parents, I
yeah,
wasn't Jen. But
yeah,
every
yeah,
other
yeah, yeah,
moment of the day, I was.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and yeah, it was like it was on our anniversary dinner, our 22nd. We were eating at this little Italian place, and she goes, and we were having a great time. Nothing was even about that, and out of the
Yeah,
blue, she just like leaned in and she was like, "Are you happier as Jen?"
yeah,
And I didn't answer, and
yeah.
she grabbed my hands and just held
Oh,
them, and she was
oh,
like, and she was like, it's okay.
yeah.
And
Oh
that's when
my gosh.
I was like, yeah, I'm much happier as Jen. And she's like, then we're gonna find therapists and we're
Yeah.
gonna get on our way with this.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's so beautiful.
Ah,
That's like you're very lucky, I think.
I know.
Yeah.
My experience is so atypical,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'm thankful for that.
Yeah. Yeah. I was especially with watching Will and Harper, I was there I it's it's like the whole concept of or just not being allowed to be yourself
Yeah,
is very it's so detrimental in so many ways, and it's
yeah,
like if you but it's also so much the fault of convention. Like if
yeah,
there was just a bunch of love in the world and everyone's like, oh, you're a woman, cool, let's go, like everyone could be healthier. But it's no different even with, I mean, I would say like for people who need an analogy for themselves that are not trans,
yeah,
like it's no different than like an artist needing to be an artist. Like I grew up in Modesto. Like there's no arts. Like I remember listening to Mike Judge on a podcast actually saying he came from a town similar to me, and he talks about how everyone just decides they're the shit people. And then
yeah,
if you start joining a band or like thinking you're going to make a film, they're like, "Hold on. We don't live in Hollywood. Like what do you think you're doing trying to not be the shit people?" Everyone just kind of like everyone agrees on this subconscious level like, "Nope, we're these people and we don't think outside ourselves." And like and if you don't, and so if you're in these towns and you don't like allow yourself to become an artist like you're supposed to be, like you'll be so depressed. Like I mentored some kids on this. I talked about in the intro, these kids at a film festival. And it's like, some of them are like, yeah, I'm just going to do business and then think about whatever, whatever. And I'm like, okay, you can do that. But if you're actually a filmmaker, you're going to be depressed. Like not everyone's supposed to be a filmmaker. If your
yeah,
gut is telling you you're an artist or I'm a filmmaker and you don't actually do that, if your gut is telling you you're a woman and you're not actually living your life as a woman, you're just going to be sad. Not
yeah,
everyone wants to be these things, but you for some reason uh, do. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
That's like our that voice in your head and everything in your gut. Like that's your guiding thing. Not everyone wants to be an actor, but that's in some, if it's in your being and you don't try it, it is like a very depressing slow suicide, I think.
Oh
You
yeah,
know?
it's one of those things. I lived a very androgynous persona anyway,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
again is its own complication in Muncie, Indiana. But
yeah,
um, eh, and I was happy. I was like, oh, well, this is a freedom I have. I don't care. I was punk at nature, so I'm like,
yeah,
whatever, lie.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, and the miraculous thing was when I came out, people that just knew me because I worked at Target on their sales floor. When I came out, people are like, "You're happier than
Oh,
you were, and you were already happy. So what?" And so some people I came out to kind of before transitioning on that sales floor.
yeah,
And then other people that I only saw every once in a while, they came in after I did after I transitioned, and they were like, "Oh
yeah,
my God, like you just shine,"
yeah.
and it's like, yeah,
Where did you work
that's,
in Target? Which
uh,
Target?
so it was a Target in Muncie, Indiana.
Oh, in
Like this was,
Indiana.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
all
yeah,
in that
yeah,
little
yeah.
town.
Yeah.
And again, atypical. It was a wonderful experience, and at that
Yeah.
time, Target was wonderful
Yeah, I feel like
with
Target
their
is,
help.
yeah, I mean, I know Target's now like reversing all their DEI stuff,
I
but
know.
I hate that that's a reactionary thing. My view of them before this is that they were very much not that. I was actually at Target the other day and I saw this trans girl and I was just like, I just looked at her like a piece of art because I was just like, she had like the most ringleted hair imaginable, and it was gross. And I was just like, oh my gosh, if you were a dude, like no one would see that hair. And it was like curly Sue, like ringlets. Like I've never
Oh my
seen
God.
such like actual, like it's almost like, but it was real. I was just like, wow. Like it was just like, and I just love anything that's like, I don't know. All it's as far as beauty standards go, like especially with models, it's whatever ends up being like crazy unique that you haven't seen before. So that's
Right.
what like all of a sudden the person will have like crazy furry eyebrows and now that's the
Uh,
trend. But it's like, you know beauty usually, like it eventually gets tired and then you have to see it in a different way and then you're like, now
yeah.
that's cool. Yeah. So I was just like, look at this piece of art. It was so fun. But wait, okay, so I had another question. Oh, yes. So normally you were like, I'm androgynous and punk, right?
Yeah.
But did you ever have your in transitioning your like fast puberty? Now I wear all of my glitter dresses moments.
Oh my God, yeah. It's like when if anyone ever says baby trans, you know
Oh, is
exactly
that
what
what
they're
it?
talking. Oh my God,
Oh, that's the
it's
term.
it
That's
doesn't
so cute.
it doesn't matter what your age is. Your skirts
Yeah.
are shorter. Your hair is
Yes.
bigger. It's
Yeah.
it's it's your. I mean, it's your tweens. Like you're
It
you're
is.
stepping into
Yeah.
this thing.
Yeah.
Um, and oh yeah, like I was just like, I mean, I think I had great style.
Yeah. No, I love your
So
style. Yeah.
and it's one of those things where like I had fun, I had a blast, and but yeah, there are things now I look back and I'm like I like really not everything because some stuff like it was really cute and like oh god like you were so happy, this is just the most amazing thing to look back and see.
Oh my God. So
um,
fun. Yeah.
Other things I was like, oh girl, why in the world did you even think that was like the way to go out?
But I think it's so fun. I know I had a friend whose uncle transitioned, and it was like, they're like, oh my gosh, now she's all mini skirts in this. And I'm like, that's how it goes. And I
Oh
bet she's
yeah.
having a blast. Like,
Yeah.
it's like college. Like all of a sudden you're like, I'm going to wear this. And yeah, it's
Oh
super
yeah.
fun.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's yeah, and it's funny because for me, again, I transitioned a few years ago. I'm 58 now, so yeah,
Oh my God. You look young.
thank you.
I didn't know
uh,
that.
and so I sat there and I was like, I still, you can't tell me to dress my age because I don't know what that is.
Yeah, what even I hate that. I think that people who say stuff like that are just like It's just, yeah, like, why are you trying to rain on anyone's parade? I plan on dressing wacky and high fashion until I'm 88. Like, leave me
Oh, and
alone.
you like do it beautifully, by the
Oh, thank
way.
you.
I'm like, I
Thank
love just everything about you. Um,
Thanks.
but I was just in I was in another film
Oh,
over
yeah.
the course of this summer, and I was playing someone my age, and I
Oh.
walked in and I see the wardrobe, and this has nothing to do with the wardrobe person.
Oh,
She's
how funny.
beautiful,
Sure, sure,
but
sure.
she gives me these clothes, and I'm like, is this how a
What?
58-year-old is
Oh,
supposed to
yeah.
dress?
I
Because I'm like,
know.
I would never wear this stuff, but I get,
No. Yeah.
it was really funny. It was so funny, and I'm like, I'm not being insulting. I'm just like, me
You're like
58
you're
would
like, "This is a
never.
genuine question." You're like, "Is
Yeah.
this what, like, the normal or whatever the average 58-year-old wears? Because just
Because
take
I'm
me to
like,
the
no.
pasture." Yeah, I'm not doing that.
It was so funny. I acquiesced and wore the wardrobe. I think there
Yeah.
was one day where I didn't because it was a moving day, and they had me in like a long skirt, and I'm like,
Oh my god,
nobody is going to
no.
wear a long skirt when they are moving.
No.
Nobody. I'm like, I'm wearing what I wore here to set.
But
Is that
also, like,
okay?
I know your outfits, like, I love your, like, cool hats and stuff, so thinking of you wearing your, like, I don't know, overly, like, maternal, like, long skirt is so silly to me. That
Oh my
is
god,
so funny.
it's so funny. I don't know. I don't know
Yeah.
what I'm supposed to wear. I just wear what I like.
Wait, do you have children? Am I
I
making this up?
do actually. I have
Oh, yeah.
one. I say they are non-binary. They came out at
Yeah.
26.
Okay.
And yeah, we were already like ridiculously close.
Yeah.
And when I came out, we became closer.
So how
Um,
old was your child when you came out?
they were 20, I'll say 20. They were right on that cusp of 2021.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and uh again, the androgyny that I was
Yeah.
spewing out, when I transitioned, all of their friends were like, oh, this makes so much sense now. Because they were all just like, oh, we just sort of like, oh, that's Mr. Winslow. It was just
Yeah,
like, it was just like,
yeah.
you're not like anyone else's dad,
Yeah.
and it was just like, it makes so much sense. And they all embraced it as well.
Yeah. Oh, how
Um,
fascinating.
and it's just that's the beauty of the evolution of society,
Yeah.
for the most part.
Yeah.
It's the younger generations. Like, my
That
mom
is
and dad were a certain way. We came up, we were more liberal. My kids are
yeah.
more liberal. That,
Yeah.
it's just gonna, that's the way it goes.
Yeah, and just more access to
Yeah.
information and yeah, and also like it's there's so much learning with like the youth like trans youth like
Yeah.
the really extreme right or now just whatever. Yeah,
Right.
the dictatorship that we're in under. But it's like
Right.
I would always hear these arguments about how like kids, I get being like, oh, your frontal lobe's not developed till you're 25. Kids say a bunch of dumb things, like whatever, whatever. Like I think of like silly things I did when I was like, I remember looking at the solar eclipse and being like, maybe if I'm blind, my parents will pay attention to me. Like you do stupid stuff. But it's not persistent. You're not like constantly saying for years and years and years. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not, it is like your first therapist said at that school, like it's not going to go away. And so any good parent would like observe that, you know,
Right.
and
It's
and track it,
yeah.
you know?
It's yeah. As a parent, just just pay attention. Like,
Yeah.
if your child is going to want to be an actor, you can tell what they're
Yeah.
doing. If they want
Yeah.
to be an artist, you can quell that, and you can, nurture that and grow
Yeah.
that in them. Um, and if I look back at our home movies, I am like, yes, she's exactly what she's going to end up being as she gets older.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm just like, But if you don't want to see that, then you don't.
I know. I
You
know. But
know,
this thing is like this bad narrative of like kids will like cry wolf and just
I,
say do random stuff for attention. It's like maybe for a day, but
yeah,
not from when they're like 3 until 12, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't go away. Yeah.
and there's so much. The misinformation is horrible because
Yeah.
the puberty blockers.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh yeah, teach me more about that cuz you gave me some
yeah,
insight the last time we chatted.
yeah. So these hormone blockers, that's all they do. They just block. They don't
Yeah.
change anything. They're just they hold everything back.
Yeah.
So if I took puberty blockers at 13,
Yeah.
uh, it would have held, or before, it would have held everything off.
Yeah.
If at 20, I was like, you know what? It was a phase. I could
Yeah.
go off of those blockers,
Oh yeah.
and here comes puberty.
Wow.
It doesn't, uh, it just, it holds it at bay. And
Yeah.
for me, that like oh my god, I wish so much that I would have had access to that,
Yeah.
because I went from being just this uh, angelic voice, just this wonderful,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I
yeah.
loved my voice, I
Oh,
loved
yeah, yeah,
everything
yeah.
about myself, and I hit puberty overnight. Like
And
it
you're like,
wasn't.
"Who is this?" Yeah.
Yeah, I went to bed like, "Ah," and I woke
Yeah.
up like Lucille Ball, and what do you want? Because I just sounded like
Yeah.
I had smoked for 40
Yeah.
years, and I was in
Yeah.
junior high, and I was
Oh,
just
wow,
like,
you're so young.
and I'm like, this is terrible. And people
Yeah.
applauded it. Oh my gosh, listen to your voice. It's so great. I'm like, no, it's
You're like,
not.
"It's
You
not
got,
me."
oh, and
Yeah.
it was that, like, it was gut wrenching. It
If someone
really
takes
was.
if someone is able to take puberty blockers when they're young like that, how long do they have to take them for life then?
Uh, so basically,
Yeah.
you yes, to a degree, depending
Yeah.
on what you're doing.
Yeah.
So if I had taken them, I would take them for life until I had surgery.
Oh, sure, sure, sure,
Um,
sure. Yeah.
and that surgery could be a full surgery, or that surgery
Yeah.
could be just a matter of like, well, we're going to go in and we're going to take these out,
Yeah, yeah,
and then
yeah.
it would stop that production, and you would go
I see.
on hormone replacement therapy,
Yeah, yeah,
and that
yeah.
would do its job.
Yeah.
Um, but if you choose to not have surgery at all, then yeah, you're gonna be on those blockers
You know
the
what?
rest of
It's
your life.
for some reason this is like now that Trump is president
Yeah,
and everything is just the cruelest version of anything. Like
yeah.
truly. Like I almost wonder like so as far as like trans policies, they're doing this disgusting thing where like the statement is that it's in order to protect women, as if MAGA gives a fuck about women as they let them die with their miscarriages and let them get assaulted by, I mean, literally like Trump's he's a rapist assaulter. Like nobody
Yeah,
cares. They don't care about women. So it's just the way that they're trying to frame this narrative is so cruel. Well, hold on, let's use our critical thinking things on two parts of this because I have two thoughts.
yes.
Okay, so their statement is basically, in order to protect women, God, I saved it this morning and now I don't have it. In order
Okay.
to protect women, they basically are like gender's binary. Okay, here it is. Efforts to eradicate the biological reality of sex fundamentally attacks women by depriving them of their dignity, safety, and well-being. Okay, first of all, not true. Okay.
Yeah.
Second of all, you don't care about women's safety and well-being. You've shown us that with how much I mean, honestly, you just let free a bunch of insurrectionists that tried to kill Nancy Pelosi. So
Right.
you're not like here for like women's dignity and safety. But also what's funny about this stupid statement is they're so hell-bent on like restrooms, you know what I mean? And like the use of, but what's funny about that is they're inherently saying they're saying gender is binary and a man's a man and a woman's a woman, right? but they're just double downing on the fact that they think that men, what they define as, designed at birth by a male, are dangerous to women, because they're saying we don't want trans women in women's bathrooms because that's not a woman, it's a man. And as we all know, men attack women. So they're actually just reaffirming, like, in their weird way, they're just being like, and by the way, men are the worst. It's like, what? Like, I love seeing trans women in the bathroom. I'm just like, oh, she's comfy cozy. Like, I'm just gonna start women in bathrooms. We're just starting conversations with each other. Like, nothing bad is happening. No one's going under disguise like Tootsie or whatever they actually think it is, and then secretly hurting women in bathrooms.
It's I can legitimately say I did not go through therapy and hormones and surgery because I wanted to walk into a restroom and
attack everyone.
Exactly. Like, I want to go into the restroom and pee. That's
like,
what
I
want
to go to the restroom and not be in a disgusting one, because the men's restrooms are always disgusting. But also, but as you talk about, like, hormone replacement therapy, it's just like, with their hate of women, and I'm curious what the long arm will be, or like if there will be long arm repercussions for menopausal women, because menopausal women are oftentimes using hormone replacement therapy but if they start making these like blanket statements, like, because at the end of the day, people who hate women don't want to relieve the symptoms of women with menopause. You know what I mean? Right. They just want to be like, you suck. That's nature. Deal with it. You don't get estrogen or testosterone. You know what I mean? Which usually both are prescribed. So it's as they abuse all these terms to kind of like, push their agenda of hate. I wonder, like, so everything right now is hurting trans women and trans men, but I could also see it down the line hurting just thinking about hormones in general, like hurting, women who are like 45 plus in menopause.
It is. And even, was it Mace in Congress, in the Senate, and she went after a woman, this person for going into the women's restroom. This, and it was a biological woman who she misgendered.
God, you just out here telling someone.
And I'm like, I was like, oh my, like, what is your problem?
My God. Also, that's, oh my God.
And it's, and even back when, like, they started these bathroom bills like several years ago, they were, I don't want to use the term, but I will. Like, they were really like, butch lesbians were getting pulled out like all the time. Like, hey, you're not allowed in there. I was like, what?
Oh my God.
And it's unfathomable.
I know.
My mind doesn't work that way. My mind is full of love, and I don't get that side of things. And I'm just like, and again, I apologize to all of the women in Muncie at this point. Muncie is a farm/factory community.
Yeah.
So they are handsome women.
Yeah.
I back in Muncie, I would blend in with every other person walking down the street. Here, I still go pretty unnoticed. Which is fine with me. The fact that I can just like walk through life and I'm not.
You're in LA.
Yeah, and and so it's just one of those, it's one of those where I just don't get noticed, and that's fine. I don't mind not getting noticed. Except when I'm acting, and then I want people to notice me because I want that. But it's detrimental to everyone, because again, you're reinforcing a stereotype as well.
Any gender looks one way. It's funny. I did stress. I was like, why is it that skirts are considered, like, why is it that dresses or whatever are constantly associated with women. I was at the movie theater and I saw some guy with a beard wearing a dress and I was like, yeah, it just looked rad. And it's just like, I just love people that are so much themselves, because I'm like, oh, you're not going to bullshit me. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know exactly who you are. You clearly are not fear-based. Those are my kinds of people. And I'm like, I love this. You know what I mean? And it just, I don't know, it's just so much fun. But I had been going to a bunch of museums. You know, I have all these museum
Yes.
trips.
Love.
I plan these aggressive group museum trips, but I had been to a bunch and I was like, oh, it's a lot of, you know, a lot of historical clothing. So from any culture, I was just realizing from various museums, and I'm like, oh, they always have women in skirts. And then I realized, oh, that's because it's kind of base level. It's literally since the dawn of time, they were like, oh, we'll just give women skirts. Seriously, because of cis genitalia, so that you can pee. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, well, we're not going to put you in pants because you need to squat sometimes. You know what I mean? So because of that, people will be like, skirts are more feminine or whatever. And it's like, but it would always like rack my brain, that idea too, of people being so married to like a specific look being what
Yeah.
is inherently male or female. And like, I was always such a tomboy. Like, you were like, I'm androgynous, this is fun. Like, I was always like, I want to be in Boy Scouts. They wouldn't let me in Boy Scouts. I just didn't want to sew. I didn't want to bake cookies. I wanted to do all the things that honestly I was being deprived of. Like, you
Yeah.
know, playing guitar, or like, you know, just like cool stuff that I thought was cool that shouldn't have been gendered in the first place. You know what I mean? I'm like, why can't I be an outdoorsy person? Like, why do I have to be at home and get cooking patches and be in Girl Scouts and sell cookies, which is like child labor? You know, I was like, I want to make a fire. But yeah, that really reductive idea in any form of like, well, this is what it means to be a boy or a girl. Like, if I had kids, they would
Yeah.
just get to, I would just want to see what they wanted to wear. It would just be
Yeah.
fun. I'd be like, you want that princess dress? Go for it. Or you want this? Okay, that's what we're doing. I don't care. It's all bad for the environment anyways. Yeah.
It's so funny the way that the conditioning happens.
Yeah.
Because one, I have some people that are like, would you like, aren't you, do you wish you would have been born, you know, and assigned female at birth?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
to a degree, yes, but to a degree, no, because my upbringing would have been so different.
Oh,
And
yeah.
knowing my mom, I there would have been a rebellious nature happening there, because
Oh, wow.
I know the adherence I would have been stuck to.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
for sure.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
conservative.
You almost had a little bit
Yeah,
more freedom. Yeah.
yeah. And then when I transitioned, it's so funny because there were things that I stopped doing.
Oh, like what?
Um, like I used to skateboard, and I used to
Oh,
like,
okay.
and
What?
oh my god. Well, and it's so funny because I hit a point where
You're
I
like,
mean,
because I was 47.
and it was only like it was only like a couple of years.
Yeah.
But yeah, like within God, within like a year and a half, 2 years of living out here, I'm kind of like, you know what? Whatever. My punk came back, and
Yeah.
my punk and hippie nature live here. And I grabbed, I've got a longboard that always lives in my car,
Yeah.
and I skateboard all the time.
Yeah.
And I just
I
there's
love that.
my favorite thing is to go down to the beach, and like I'll go down to Manhattan Beach and I'll skateboard up to Santa Monica,
Oh,
and just be
that's such a
like,
great
oh,
whole route. That's so good. I
oh,
lost, or I didn't lose, but the last skateboard that I had was a custom skateboard made by all these fancy people I knew who were like in the X Games and stuff. They made it for me. But one time outside my window, it was like a little version of me. I would say little tomboy me. Like, there were these little boys skateboarding, and the girl didn't have one, and
yeah,
she was just kind of like tagging along. I'm like, this is so messed up. So I gave her my skateboard. I was like, go
yes.
little bird, skateboard, skate with your friends. Like, we're not just watching them. We're not DJ hoes. We're not cheering them on. We're
Oh my
doing
god,
it. Like, go have
yeah.
fun. Yeah. But I love that you skateboard that route, because I lived in Venice during the pandemic, and that was like, I would roller skate. I would like dance like a crazy person roller skating. It was so much fun. Yeah, I
Oh,
love
it's
that whole path.
perfect.
Yeah, I love it. Wait, okay. So what do you feel like are the best ways people can support you in general, or like what is like, what do you wish for society as well,
uh,
as far as like I also want to share, like, I remember when I worked at the Abbey, I knew people who had like been drag queens, and then all of a sudden they transition. And I remember they would tell me, and I'd be like, that's great. Like
Yeah.
I didn't think anything of it because I didn't realize it was like such a special day for them, kind of. And they were choosing people to tell, I wish that I wish I had realized what a moment that was. And
Yeah.
almost feel excited that I was being told, because I
Yeah.
think they knew that I was like, I would support them, but I was just like, I don't know, everything always made sense to me. I was like, that checks out. So let's go, but I didn't really like have further chats with those friends. And I regret that very much.
I would say, I mean, that's one of the biggest things. Like, again, just look at the face of the person telling you,
Yeah.
because you can tell how important it is.
Yeah.
And just listen and ask questions, but ask respectful questions.
Yeah.
Um, and just be as excited for them as they are to be telling you. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, my gosh, every time I tell someone, even now, if they don't know, and I tell them, there's still that moment of like, there's hesitation and excitement in letting them know.
Yeah.
And I've never had a negative experience coming out to someone, so that's always been
Oh,
wonderful.
that's nice. Yeah.
um,
Yeah. That's great.
but it's just, but everyone that I've come out to and who didn't know, and we've talked, ends up having, we end up having like an hour-long conversation.
Yeah. Which is
And
so
they are
what,
just,
yeah.
they just want to know. And
I
I'm
know,
like,
but
yes,
that's what everyone needs. Like people make
yeah,
fun of things they don't understand. So
yeah,
it's like that's why it's so important for everyone to like have access to more information or watch these films or
yeah,
actively seek out like more trans friends. Like it's just such a bummer thinking that, they just took the T off the government website.
right. It's,
It's like everything's going to be yeah, I remember being a child and reading whatever Martin Luther King Jr. book they gave to us and just being
yeah,
like, what? Like I can still see the drawings and just being
yeah,
like, oh my God. You know what I mean? Because you
yeah,
needed to know that. And it's so major and it's so important. And it's like, I just think about like, oh, just any of these books and things that we need, or really great trans children's books that can give like a child that early moment of like,
yeah,
oh, that's interesting. Someone's different than me, or maybe I am this person in this book, you
yeah.
know? Yeah.
It's, yeah, it's one of those things where so many shows that have brought in like trans storylines, um, or any storyline, but of course for me, trans. If I would have seen those shows as a kid,
Oh
I
my
would have
goodness.
felt so. It wouldn't have been like, oh, that made me trans. It would have been like, oh my god, like this.
I'm not alone.
I'm not
Yeah.
alone,
Yeah.
and I'm not alone, and I'm not an adult on a talk show talking about their story. It's a
Yes.
kid. Like I
Oh
don't
my
have to
goodness.
wait till I'm
Yeah.
47.
Yeah, no,
To,
it's so important to see yourself
um,
and those storylines. For me, that was seeing Rufio Dante Basco in Hook. I will never forget seeing a Filipino person getting to be the cool kid in a Peter Pan kind of movie and being like, wait, what? And being like, we're allowed to like exist and like we're allowed to like be
yeah.
out there. You know what I mean? And we're cool. Like someone can think of us as cool and not like everyone in my hometown,
Oh my
which was the
god.
opposite. But yeah, those stories are really important. Even though, I mean, I opened this whole thing with an intro about how when I would pitch, people would glaze over about when I would talk about the Filipino storyline
Yeah.
and how much that would frustrate me. And then I noticed that I did that to a girl in a session when she was telling me all about her trans narrative show, and I was like, I don't know, it doesn't relate to me. Sorry, girl. So I was glazing over and I was like, ooh, I gotta check that. That's wrong. And there's more that I
Yeah.
need to know and learn. But
And
yeah,
it's, yeah, it's self-awareness on
yeah,
you, the ally's part as well. Just a
yeah,
self-awareness, like, okay,
yeah,
this is what I'm doing. Make sure that I engage and
yeah,
am present.
yeah. What's your biggest, what's, do you have any, what's like the funny of most embarrassing or funniest moment ever in, in like, I don't know, as, as a trans woman where you're like,
Oh my
guys,
god.
or why did I do this?
It, I don't know. It's so funny. A lot of it comes back to, again, it was let's go for a Halloween
Yeah. Oh
story
yeah,
on
yeah,
you know
yeah,
on
yeah,
this,
yeah.
and it was one of those things, and I'm like, I don't know. It was, I can't even describe what I was doing or wearing. Like, it was just like, what in the world?
This happens on
Uh,
Halloween.
and what was so funny is the friend that I went with, she immediately, oh, it clicked with her, just like, oh, I see
Oh, how
you.
funny. Yeah,
And
she's
we,
like, "Wow, you really went all out."
oh yeah, and it was so much fun. And we went to this, we went to this club in Indy, and what ended up going from embarrassing to just amazing was there was a girl that came up and she's like, "Oh my god, you look really good. You should go up and get
In the
in the
costume
in the
contest?
contest."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, thank you." And my voice was much lower, and she was like,
Yeah.
"Oh shit, like you're a guy?" And I
Oh,
was
how
like,
fun.
she's like, "I had no idea, but you should still go up there.
Yeah.
you look." It was a black fairy. It was
What
a
did you
dark
dress
fairy,
as?
a dark
Oh,
fairy.
cool. I love
Um,
it.
And so when she was apologizing, and my friend actually stepped in, I'm like, "Oh, don't you dare apologize for what you said. That's
Yeah.
exactly what
Yeah,
we."
that's
So it
awesome.
was embarrassing. I don't like looking at those pictures. It was a bad. I was not living up, but the fact that everyone else
Yeah, how old were
was
you?
good. Oh my gosh, that was early. Probably honestly, probably like that 19 to
Yeah,
21.
anything we do at that age is excused. For real. Anything I wore in college for Halloween, any like hypomanic episode that I had during Halloween where I was like, let's be real ninjas, and terrorize our fellow classmates. And I literally, all my girls, we dressed up as ninjas. I'm completely sobered. I was definitely hypomanic. And I'm like, let's just attack everyone. And we would like jump. Our school had like floats. They had like pirate ships, and we would jump on these pirate ships and like have fake like battles with these pirates and stuff. Like that's all okay. It's under the 19-year-old clause.
Right.
You're allowed. Or if I wasn't that, I was like Eve, like Adam and Eve with like just leaves on my body. Like, oh
Right.
girl, no one needs to see any of those pictures and those bad eyebrows. Like so you're just like every other woman, Jen. Nice try.
See.
Nice try. Messy AF when you're at Halloween at 19. Yeah,
Oh my
that's how it
god.
goes. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much. I'm so
You're very
glad that we
welcome.
fixed this. I'm so glad that I pressed record. Big day. Um, and where okay, remind me also of the
Yes.
director of Marie because I felt guilty not knowing her name. I can
Yudi
look it up too.
Zhang.
That's right. Yes, I
Yes.
knew it was a young Asian. She was like in college or something.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was her senior film.
Oh my goodness. It's just absolutely beautiful. If can people is it did she put it on Vimeo or anything?
I've got her up on YouTube. I can send you that link.
Okay, yeah, send me that link and
Um,
I'll post it somehow
yeah.
when
Yeah,
everything's
because
out.
I love
It's
that movie.
it's a must see and it's only like how many minutes is it?
It's under 15.
Yeah, if you need a quick snack, then you watch your 15-minute film Marie, which is a must. And also, I will preach Will and Harper and also good on Will Ferrell because he has a certain audience, and I
Yeah.
think that it's very helpful to have that movie. And I'm just such a Harper Steele stan now. I like Google her all the time to see what she's wearing. She's like you, like she has cool outfits, like you have cool hats and stuff. She's got the cool glasses. I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh, I hope I get to meet Harper. But anyways, I'm so excited for that, and I'm so excited that I know you, and my life is so much better because I do know you, and I'm so grateful to you for letting me chat with you and pick your brain and for letting me stalk you after seeing your wonderful performance, which by the way, so everyone knows, I tried to get her a special award for acting because we were allowed to do that as judges, but it was like I lost by like one thing and we had a special award for something else. Oh, by the way, a girl who eventually got an Oscar nomination for directing. So the special award eventually went to directing for a girl who eventually got an Oscar nomination, whatever. But I was just like, oh my goodness, this is an amazing actor. this is a very personal story, and it has one of my, like I've always told you, one of my top 3 acting moments, which is just like a quick response that you give after your dad's like, I've always wanted a daughter. It's just, you're so arrested, and it's so in the moment, and it's so good, and I just love it so much. And yeah, it's, I can't say enough. And I hope you get to do
Thank
many, many
you.
more films. And I'm very excited for your next one, which is again
Yes.
called Daddy
Got
Issues.
got
Got
daddy
Daddy.
issues. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like got milk, got daddy
Exactly.
issues. We'll remember it. But anyways, thank you so much, and I love you, and I'll see you in LA soon,
All
hopefully.
right.
All
Yes.
right, bye. Hi, friends. Thank you so much for listening to Critical Thinking with Ginger, the podcast where I just want people to be able to have critical thinking skills. Good gosh. Anyways, this was the first episode that I recorded in actually January of 2025. And if you're looking on the video, you can see my hair is like 8 inches longer. But I tabled it all because I got too busy. But it felt important to at least put this episode out for now as the trans community continues to be under further attack. And also, it kind of gets less attention because there is so much uh, happening right now. But, Kansas is invalidating driver's licenses. People want to criminalize doctors that give trans children care, et cetera, et cetera. So I felt like this conversation was important, and it was important to at least release this episode, and hopefully I'll have time to do more. And I can't thank you enough for listening. As has also always been my dream, I wanted to end each episode with a poem that I had written, kind of going through a bank of my poems and seeing if any of them fit this situation. And I found one that kind of fits my desire for critical thinking in everyone in general. And it's called Wake Them Up Slowly. Now, I will say, as a reminder, it is not our job to educate people. People got to wake up on their own. And I am all about cutting people off until they get FOMO and slowly go, hey, hang on a second, I have no friends. Maybe I should start reading and thinking and being a better human in society. However, there are so many people who can evolve with a gentle tactic, I guess. And this is kind of a poem about how to do that. All right. So here it is. Oh, also, nope. I will put the link to Jen's short film Marie in any post that I put on Instagram, and it'll be in my highlights. Okay, back to the poem. Wake them up slowly. To wake up the ones who continue to sleep, I have a small tip you might find to be neat. Take a small feather to brush over their eyes, the ones that have absorbed far too many lies. Even if they're the enemy, treat them like an anemone who might retreat in fright the second it sees the light. Titrate as you hydrate with doses of truth. Titrate and tickle, titrate and tickle. Tickle their brains, but then give them some rest. Time to process always works best. Careful to tickle to the point where they're childishly mad, but it's okay to tickle until they become very sad, because the truth is traumatizing, but a necessary part of the prescription. And the sadness will fade as long as they are allowed to wade. Let them wade and wade. No teeters, no totters, just waiting and waiting. Everything percolating. Once they're awake, you can definitely hear them. Clunky and funky, you might have to steer them. But you'll know they are strong when they start singing back your song. To you, to others, their sisters or mothers. And then as a gift, you can give them some more. They don't need to sleep in once it's part of their core. No need for alarms or gentle nudges to rise. You can sit back and take comfort in the clearness of their eyes. They are no longer asleep. They've rested and digested. And now they're inspired and fully invested. It will start to be beautiful when they add harmonies that flow with your song that have been dying to erupt for oh so long. But why just duet when you could have a full choir? Multiple voices raising higher and higher. For this, you can hand them their own personal feather. By now, they will know we're stronger together. So off they'll go to brush the next person's eyes. as they whisper so softly, time to rise, time to rise. Thanks, you guys.